Well, if there's anything I can say about GCW, it helped a lot of people meet up with one another.
Yes, for about 3 years, ever since it started, it really brought a lot of people together. I think we had like several thousands members come by in the past 3 years or so.
Yeah, and if you don't know who we are, I'm Mass, and that's Wheel.
Hi, I'm Wheel326. I've been in the Roblox game show community since 2014. I ran a group called Team Game Show Hallway for 5 years between 2014 and 2019. I've also been one of the lead developers in Game Show Currency Winnings from 2019 to 2021. Or was it 2018? Yeah, 2018 to 2021, so about 3 years. And since then, I have been doing development work for TOF Studios and NBC Productions.
Yeah, and is it safe to say that you kind of started this whole trend?
I guess you can say I did start this trend. I don't know if there's anyone who has started it before I did, but it was something that people caught on to over time. Like I started posting stuff on DeviantArt. I started, posting all that game show stuff somewhere else, and I actually started doing game shows long before 2014. I just started bringing friends along for some little games here and there, so it kind
Yeah,
of just built upon that.
there's one thing I do want to bring up as far as what I've seen on your DeviantArt.
Yes,
Yeah, might have mentioned this elsewhere, but you'd actually did an team mod image for one of my games, depicting the Team Fortress
yes,
2 characters.
yes. I remember exactly what you're talking about. How do I go
So it
about
in
that?
post production if you're okay with that.
Post production? I mean, I have been
I mean,
doing Gary's Mod work.
after the recording, I'll edit the picture in.
Mm. Yeah, I am still doing Gary's Mod renders here and there, just for a different community, but I'm still open to do those once in a while. So
Yeah, I've seen my fair share of Gmod and Source Filmmaker material. It's crazy what you can do on there.
totally, like I'm not at that level where it's like Kitty 0706 style animation or anything like that. I'm just more of, just work with what you have,
Yeah,
try to make the
exactly.
best out of it.
I feel the same way about Roblox, to be honest. Using what
Yes,
we
so
can do.
there's really a lot that you can do in Roblox Studio development wise. Over
Yeah,
time, the amount of technologies have risen rapidly. Like compared to 2014 versus now, there's just so much work that you can put into a game to the point where it just looks like something straight out of Unity or Blender.
yeah. And I have used that as a cheat every once in a while, importing something from a Unity thing
Yes.
using Blender.
Yes, people can import custom meshes and all that stuff. You can even import meshes from like video games too. Like some of the stuff I use in my sets are actually from game show video games, most notably Wheel of Fortune. But
Yeah,
other times I would just make my own in a Roblox Studio and upload it as a mesh instead. So that's just one of
yeah.
the development things I do.
Now, how was it being a developer in this community?
Being a developer in this community has given me a lot of appreciation for all these people because they're here to experience game shows in a very realistic yet simulated way. Like how in real life you have to be at least 18 years old to be on Wheel of
Right.
Fortune. Hell, Family Feud. Like back then, they didn't even have like just adults only. There were some kids during the Dawson era,
And in
but
one instance I can imagine that I can think of right now for Feud is when Honey Boo Boo Child was on the show.
yeah, but that's more of a recent thing. And occasionally,
Yeah,
game shows would have kids on the show too, but all the time,
including
or just
Price is
for the
Right
most
and Let's
part.
Make a Deal during the holidays.
Yes. So I think part of the reason why I enjoy my development is that I'm catering to all ages around here, both the young and the old who want to experience the studio, and then like I'm there to share my enthusiasm for game shows as well. So that's why I like to build these, and then like I just build and build, keep improving, just start opening up to different shows that people want. Just listen to them. What do they want? I'll give it to them.
About improving yourself, I feel the same way with the recording I do.
Mm.
I always finding new tricks along the way.
I think also part of why I got into the game show community is watching your videos. I remember I was like 8 years old and I've been watching your videos nonstop. It's what got me. It's something that really pushed me forward to making my own stuff on Roblox.
Yeah,
So, like,
can't believe
even
that a lot of my fans have been around in this community long before I have.
yeah, a lot of people have heard about you actually. So, um, what else can I say? Here's a little fun fact. I've rebuilt Price's Right's Plinko about 13 or 14 times in the span of several years, maybe more than that. Like, I still have the very first Plinko game I made. Um, well, not the very first, but it's like one of the very earliest ones.
Wow.
It was just a simple gray wall with the proper peg pattern. And long before that was just a prehistoric style of building. So back then, when we wanted to make angles in Roblox Studio, we'd have to use a hinge, push the part, and then anchor it at the right time.
Man, technology has come a long way.
Certainly. And, like it just came in from there. So,
In fact, coming from the hosting position on Press Your Luck, you and the other devs on that show did a great job with the game board.
yes, thank you. I actually only did the graphic work for that, if you're not aware. So, I did the numerical spaces and some of the other stuff. I don't think I did part of the set. Actually, I did the bonus island. That's what I remember doing.
Yeah, and I've tried. It's hard as heck to do this stuff if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's also helping the fact that I'm also majoring in computer sciences for my college as well. So that's really helped me improve anything programming wise around the set.
Yeah.
So yeah, these
Now,
days I try to make my sets as easy as possible for new developers or beginner developers. So
right.
I developed a thing called a one script solution where, for example, if you have Family Feud or Wheel of Fortune, those are very easy to add a one script solution because the only thing that has to change are the puzzles and the questions. For shows like The Price is Right, that's going to be a lot harder because you had to manually put prizes around the studio wherever you need them. Because
Yeah.
there's so many locations that you can play a pricing game or put a prize somewhere. So that's something that's gotten difficult to produce these days compared to like 2016 where The Price is Right Robloxia was in production and we were pumping out episodes every weekend because all the
Imagine the
others.
pressure people must have felt once
Oh yeah.
things started picking up.
Yeah, and for a short while, I was doing game show hallways slash GCWs price production on my own. Like I was doing all the pricing games and the prizes as well. So there was that, and then the rest of the production team came in along. So ever since those one script solutions, production of Prices Right has stalled quite a bit, and well, just any show related to Prices Right because it's still one of the only shows that requires manual positioning and manual work. Compared to the
Yeah.
others, you can just change a few sentences and just swap out things in just a snap.
Right. Speaking of Prices Right, do you know what's going to happen to the roleplay on GCW side?
As far as I know with the roleplay, I'm thinking that I would try to upload a new roleplay game. So I was the one who invented the roleplay thing. I just took one of my old sets and just, you know, modified it a little to make it open for all players. That's where the idea of the roleplay came from.
Ah,
So for making a new roleplay, I think I might make a new set entirely because I do have some unused Price is Right assets that I made on my own using mesh parts. So I figured that should, help cater back to those who missed the role plays and would like to keep playing on them. But while fixing all the potential problems and anything that hasn't been covered in the role play, and applying the new technologies as well. So that's going to be a breeze for the new players to try.
alright. Thanks for your input on that. I might join every once in a while just to see it.
Yeah, no problem with that. In addition to my development work, I'm also doing commissions as well. So people can pay me in PayPal. Of course, Robux is a little illegal these days to
Yeah,
build game show sets. If you like Wheel of Fortune, if you like Pyramid, if you like Price is Right, it depends. And you can ask for any era or set you want, as long as there's significant amounts of reference photos that I can take from them. That should be
yeah,
fine. Um, the only things that I don't specialize in is Who Wants to Be a Millionaire because that has a huge fan base around it, and
yeah. And they
people
have
that
enough people as it is.
yes, and there's so many people out there who try to remake all of the sets from around the world, like even the smallest details. Like even I can't notice them. So no offense to Millionaire fans, but every time I go inside the creations channels and just look at all the logos they make, I just can't seem to find any differences. Like what's the difference
Yeah,
between this logo and this logo? I should be the one asking them, but it's just something that I find a little bit overrated. But some people
yeah.
find Price
And
is
I
Right
and
too. That's
I'm
understandable.
and I'm saying we're saying that as I still have some editing to do on a hot seat episode that just happened
Yes.
before we started.
Okay. So yeah, that's my inquiry of some of the development work I've been talking about and what I've been doing recently.
Yeah. Now, I've asked other this, but if you weren't a developer or staff in these groups, what game would you want to play in and why?
What game? Like, what do you mean?
So would you want to be a contestant in the community?
Who would I be in the community? I don't really know, honestly. If I didn't learn how to build, um, what game I would be most excited for because I do like all of them. I
Yeah,
find them all appealing. But I mostly grew up with Wheel of Fortune as my name states, so I'd rather be on Wheel of Fortune. But I've opened up to other shows over time.
yeah, I feel the same way. Watched watched them all my life, to be honest.
Mm. I'm
Remember
also
the I was gonna say
yeah.
that I remember the April Fool's episode where Pat Finn played and Alex hosted when I was young.
Mm.
Sorry if I interrupted
Yeah,
you.
I like that episode. Oh, don't worry, don't worry. Shoot, what was I gonna say? I'm also surprised that we have people in the community who have also appeared on actual game shows. Like, I think you, for example, have attended Price is Right live, right?
Yeah, twice now.
Twice. Okay, that's nice. I have yet to attend one or even see one. The closest I ever gotten to was I went to Los Angeles and I ate at a restaurant called Ruin Pear, about 10 minutes from Beverly Hills Boulevard. And then after we ate, we went to go visit the front of CBS Studios because I was gonna see I don't know if you know Gamer J, because he at the time was working at CBS.
Yeah, I know who you're talking
Like,
about.
yeah, Gamer J881. He said that he was working at CBS. He also was a cameraman for about 3 weeks, just covering someone's position, as I heard. So that itself was really surprising. Unfortunately, I didn't get to meet him because I don't know where in the building he was, and then security had to like, you know, st step us out because I was looking for someone named Bob Smith, as conspicuous as it sounds.
Been
So yeah.
called on down on my first trip, and then a member of the same party I was with got called on my second trip. And now the number
Mm.
1050 is stuck in my head forever.
Well, that should be your bid from now on when you go on Price is Right.
Yeah, darn coach
Um,
accessories.
I'm also surprised that we. Okay, so speaking of contestants that appeared on game shows, like Kyle, for example, not only was he on Wheel of Fortune, like I think it was like in 2013 or so. Hershen, right? Kyle
Yeah,
Hurst. Um, he's also an announcer or radio host, if I remember. And I really like his contributions to the community. Providing his voice not just for game shows, but also like NBC sporting events, the NBC League, if you're not aware of
yeah.
that.
The men's
And
bathroom choir is doing their own sports league.
yes, and I am part of it. As you can tell, I'm wearing a Colorado Rockies jersey. We've been losing 2-0.
Yeah, and I'll see if our audience would be okay with asking you questions in chat later.
Well, we have a small audience today, but any questions should be acceptable.
Yeah, I know we have a small audience. This is why I asked you beforehand, in case I wanted to slog and keep others out.
Should be fine. Let's see what they have to ask us.
Alright, in fact, I'll open it now. Let me undo Shift P here. And I know they couldn't hear you, but I'll go to the audience now.
If there's anything else I can add right now, I can probably tell you about some of the projects I've been doing. So, some of the projects I've been working on for NBC are there's the stupid family game, which is Family Feud, also known as Family Food. There's also Schmeal or No Schmeal, which is Deal or No Deal. You can become God. There's also another one called the $10 Triangle, if you're not aware, which is the $100,000 pyramid. Oh, yes. Here's a question. How did the Price is Right roleplay game close? The reason why I closed it is because it was open during the GCW times, and it was also a pretty broken game too. A lot of things wouldn't work right, or they required the B tools to be operated. So B tools can't be really used anymore because whatever you do on your end, nobody else can do it. You have to use something called F3X. So I'm like I said before, I was thinking to remaster the roleplay and make an entirely new set out of it using whatever I have available and
Yeah,
new technologies too.
can't believe how far things have gone, to be honest. Looking at sets from back then.
Yes, I did most of my actually no, before Team Game Show Hallway or during Team Game Show Hallway, I also did some work for TOF Studios as well. mostly Family Feud and Wheel of Fortune. I still provide Wheel of Fortune these days, but that's kind of come to a halt, and I'm just working on some of the other shows and auxiliary stuff for them, like events and the
Right.
sorts.
Now, I'm kind of running out of things to say, to be honest. But I will like to extend my deepest gratitude for everyone involved in this community to help things where to get where they are today. Because if it wasn't for people like you, I probably wouldn't have much else to do during the day.
Hmm. Yeah, I honestly didn't think that I would be reaching out to this many people, and then like all of us would come together because we are a community after all, just like all the others. We all have other
Yeah,
games we like. This is just one thing that we all have in common. Whether
right.
you're a casual fan or you're an absolute nerd for something, or enthusiast for that matter,
Yeah,
um, just come and enjoy the show.
because not everyone can go to Hollywood or New York or Florida or
Yeah,
Georgia
that's true.
or anywhere else they tape game shows.
Yeah, like you can't really travel there, especially when you're from like Europe or wherever else in the world.
Right. Speaking of, do you think we'd be talking about a as big an audience globally as we are with these shows?
We attract a lot of people from around the world. Most of them come from America in the Eastern Standard Time Zone. But we do have some people coming from like Southeast Asia, mostly Vietnam and the Philippines. We have a lot of people coming from United Kingdom as well, so like England and the surrounding areas. That's where most of our people come from. So we can essentially say the entire world is involved here.
Yeah.
We also have some people who come from Russia and like other countries, like certain individuals who come from different countries of different origins. So we have a lot of diversity when it comes to this community.
And that's a good thing. It'd
Yes,
be kind of boring if we all had the same kind of person.
yeah, that's true. Like we need diversity sometimes.
Yeah. And I do want to ask you about one particular show from the Teen Games Hallway era, The Price is Left. I don't know
Yes.
if you were
Okay.
involved with that, but
I
could you
was.
explain how that
The
was?
So the Price is Left was actually my idea. It's kind of the precursor to the NBC show Pra Ra. It's basically Doug Davidson's 1994 Price is Right, but dumbed down so much to just make it as funny as possible. Um, how would I explain the Price is Left? It was the last show on Teen Game Show Hallway that ended no, that played on January 25th, 2019, which marks the 5-year anniversary of Teen Game Show Hallway. And by then GCW took over. So in the Prices Left, we just played pricing games that had alternate titles. If I recall what they were called, one of them was called Clock Game Thing, which was basically horrid version of Clock Game. I don't know how horrid it was, but it was just horrid. The second game was called. It's a variant of Double Prices, but oh yeah, it's called basically just two prices. Just give them verbose alternative titles. And the third
Yeah,
one was Planko, which is self-explanatory. But we
which is
replaced
also being used on Prara, if I remember
yes.
right.
Uh, the Prices Left version used different slots. Like we had numbers ranging from $1, $25, $420, and I even implemented spelling bee into it. So if you get the CAR slots, like all three of them, you win a card too, and $1,000 per each. 'Cause you know how in spelling bee, like if you pass on spelling car, you get like $1,000 per card you pull out.
Yeah.
That's where the idea came from. Oh, and I put a lose a turn wedge in there too. It's basically $0.
And I do remember something about it. Extra verbose it is in a grand game. From when people were talking about it in the
I
GCW
remember
server.
it was called Big Cash Game where you must not go over the target price. I still have the original graphic for it. I don't know if we actually played it or not. I think we played 4 pricing games as far as I recall. Let's see here. The price is left. Here it is. Let me just read the title for you. Big cash game in which you can't go over the target price and in square brackets, aka grand game.
Yeah, that would be a mouthful.
See, we have more verbose titles when it comes to the pra-ra. I think the longest title that we have ever made was it was for Lucky 7. So episode prior we played credit card, but instead of credit card we call it piece of plastic used in substitution of paper currency with a set line of funds allotted to use by a consumer. It's a mouthful, isn't it?
Yeah, imagine
So
Drew's not trying to say that.
even the rap god can say it easily. Piece of plastic used in substitution of paper currency with a set line of funds allowed to use by a consumer. So when we did Lucky 7 the next episode, we used that same title, but we added more to the start. The game where you must keep 7 pieces of paper currency that are not a piece of plastic used in substitution of paper currency with a set line of funds allotted to be used by a consumer.
Wow.
So that's what we
By
call
the
Lucky 7.
wow, imagine trying to fit that up on the board.
Oh, we actually did. We had no problem fitting that on the board.
Also, while on the topic of Price Right and humor, dice fondlers.
That is a class. That is a cult classic right there. So, on the very last episode of TGSH/GCW Price is Right, I filmed the producer's point of view. All of us are in the VC. This is kind of like a perspective on what we're like during production of the show. So, I think it was the second pricing game or the first pricing game that we played Let 'Em Roll. And Corin started pointing out, you know how in craps they try to retrieve the dice with the cane?
The Gurbier stick, or however you pronounce it.
Yeah, whatever that is. And then Torrent was like making comments about that dice stick that the models use on the real show, and we didn't have that in Roblox. And then Johnny Zillion started mentioning it as the dice fondler. It just was hilarious. We were all dead for the next 5 minutes.
In fact, I'm having a smile right now hearing about it.
It's something that cannot be forgotten. We even named the Let 'Em Roll dice fondlers on NBC's Pra-Ra during the first episode. It was just too
Yeah.
good. Well, that's the
Sometimes the
story
best
of dice
jokes are the
fondlers.
ones you don't try to overdo.
Yes. I just give big props to Johnny for that because that was just hilarious.
And
I
actually,
yeah.
it even if you don't think you have a spot in this community, you do. And I'm not just talking to you, Will, but to the viewing public that
Yes,
happens to
that's
be
true.
in the groups.
We can't have game shows without audiences. Hell, even players. So
Right.
yeah, staying on the topic of Price is Right and humor, there have been some other hilarious moments that I have encountered before. Um, what was one of those moments? I think Lucky 7 Crashes, remaking them, have also been a highlight of producing Prices Right on Roblox for a while. Just coming
Yeah.
in from the side and then just blowing up door 3 into smithereens.
Yeah. And then I remember them doing so in real life as an April Fool's joke
Yep. I wonder how
during
much
their
that cost
mythical
people.
10,000 whatever. Which, now that I think about it, aren't we getting somewhere close to 10,000 total episodes, or am I misremembering?
10,000 total episodes of The Price is Right?
Yeah, on CBS.
I really don't know. I haven't been keeping count, honestly.
Me
Might be
neither.
about might be about 8,000, 9,000 right now. I don't know.
And I'll say this. You know how long I've been on my channel?
I don't know,
I
like well
remember
over
making an
50.
announcement video about Steve Harvey being the new feud host.
So like well over 15 years now? 13
Well,
years? I don't
yeah.
know.
Of course, I remove some videos every once in a while when I felt like it.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of
I
things that
understand.
I deleted that I probably shouldn't have, Deal or No Deal.
Yeah.
When you won the top prize and had the final two cases be the top two amounts on the board.
Oh yeah, I remember that. So after I won that 250 Robux, I just ended up giving it to someone in the audience because, that's just the thing I do. I don't really need the money for myself if just someone else can just win it.
Yeah, I forgot the guy's name who got it.
I forgot too, but I remember how I played it. It's because I just did everything in a comical way. So I just really don't know how I played it out. I do remember hosting the show for one episode. I'm just gonna get into the hosting part right now, if you don't mind.
Yeah,
I remember hosting the show, and instead of being like the professional kind of Howie Mandelism or just something like that, I would just make up jokes on the spot, like do little skits. For example, I would pretend that the banker is a delivery guy who's charging me ridiculous amounts for takeout, and then whatever the price was also the offer. It's like, okay, so sorry, the banker came up to my door and then like he was delivering me food for my lunch, and then I read the bill and it was like $62, and that was the offer. So I would do things like that when I host
yeah.
Deal or No Deal.
I've known I've been cracking jokes on Press Your Luck too. Some of them going over better than others, and then tax.
Yeah, that I mean, you are playing with mostly a young audience after all, so
Yeah,
some of them might not get it, some of them will.
and then some of them don't land because of tax.
That's true. So, Press Your Luck has been pretty good for you ever since you started hosting it, right?
Right.
Yeah. And what
Never thought
league are you
I'd
gonna be
be
in?
hosting one.
Yeah, I was surprised that you got the job for it. The guy I've been watching for quite a while in my childhood on YouTube is literally right in front of me and has also hosted a show I helped develop. I don't know how it even came to this.
Me neither,
Like
to be
if
honest.
if I was 8 years old right now, I would be shitting my pants like crazy.
Yeah. In fact, I kind of feel the same way now with some of the other folks. And hearing just how many people grew up with my videos of Big John gameplay.
Well, many of us did, and then this is one of the things that helped us, inspired to make game shows in the community and whatnot.
If I didn't have dry eyes, I probably would be crying right now.
I see. Now, speaking of Big John games, NBC's Simp Your Luck actually did come from a Big John game, believe it or not.
Yeah, because of all the crazy scores.
That's true, but the first season was actually why NBC was created because it was just a bunch of drunk guys getting together and just playing Big John's Press Your Luck. And the spaces you see on Simp Your Luck actually come from that game. So like Switch Money, Malfunction, Big Bank. Big Bank's more of a whammy thing, but we call it the Big Swig now. We,
Yeah,
we don't we don't ask trivia questions because nobody's got time to answer trivia. We just want money.
exactly. And the trivia kinda grinded things to a halt on Real Life Whammy Season 2.
We don't talk about season two.
I meant the real life one on
Oh yes,
GSN.
yeah. We have been doing the whammy set actually for season four. The
Yeah,
tournament of champions is actually next week. If you're interested in coming to that, January
I
8th
might.
around 2. I'll
I'm
keep you updated on
depending
that.
on how late it is at night.
It's probably gonna be during the afternoon, not during the midnight schedule we usually do for Simple Luck.
Oh, also, while we're on the topic of Press Your Luck, man, I wish I won Corn Stream. When the guy who runs it was offering Press Your Luck slides from the original show with Peter DeMarkin.
Oh, I never really heard about that, but that sounds like interesting to collect. I have seen
Y-
pictures of the actual slides that they use on the show.
yeah, and get this, the guy runs the board for the new version.
Well, that's cool. It's nice to see some of the past staff come back. I think the slides are the size of a DS cartridge. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that in his hands on that stream. They
Mm.
are kind of small. Imagine the strength of the slide projectors used on the show.
Yeah, there are probably like 18 of them or something. I heard a
Yeah,
joke as well. They only use three.
yeah. And then multiply that by 3 for each, since each square has 3 items on it, plus
That's true.
replacement slides for prizes, the blanks, and then 2 rounds.
Hmm.
And then the individual switched to the neon era in 85.
Yeah,
Man, that's a lot.
stuff like that I wouldn't really know much about, but it's interesting to hear what kind of technologies they used back then.
I'll try to find a picture of that prize I was talking about after we record this and this is over with.
I wonder where the pool table for Dan is.
I don't know. At least we got Flickati Rugs back on the game board
That's true.
on the TV version. Well, if there's not much else we can talk about,
I think we
I
covered
guess
up
it's time for us
everything.
to end this.
Yes.
Anything
I
you'd
thank
like
you.
to say?
Well, I'd like to thank everyone for staying in the community and then keeping it strong these past 8 years or so. Those who are new and old, and those who are in the same group as I am, developing, producing any position that you have, even contestants, especially the contestants, because they're the ones who keep the shows alive. And we listen to
As a
you.
lot of the old games the hosts say, the real stars of the show are the contestants.
That's right. I'm always listening to them. I'm always reaching out to them for what do they want to see, and then things like that. Keep them happy.
Right.
That
Because
helps
if
me
you
keep
can't
going.
keep the general public happy, you're not doing it right.
That's true. I don't think it's just general public. It's also listening to your staff as well because you gotta cater to them too. So you gotta pretty
Right.
much cater to everybody.
Yeah. And if you can't mm, keep up with demand, who knows what will happen.
It's true. Well, anyways, I think we can finish it right here. If there's nothing else
Right.
to talk about.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming.
And I thank you for being on your show today.
Thanks. And until next time, this has been Smash Whammy, and I really need a key in catchphrase one of these days. But bye.
You'll, you'll get one.
Thanks.